state of war. For many people, that seems very difficult to justify.
Well, first of all, there are some very dangerous asymmetric threats that are out there. Terrorism, obviously, one of them. This is what we anticipate going into the future is not necessarily nation-on-nation type conflict. Okay, it is these asymmetric threats that are out there. It's the threat of weapons of mass destruction. There's another asymmetric threat is the cyber threat that exists. These are all threats that transcend geographical boundaries. You know, the United States military has to prepare for a wide range of threats that exist out there in order to protect its national interests.
Are media drums beating for another war? Say a war with Iran?
I wouldn't say that the media are beating the drums for war yet, although they are showing the same credulousness, the same obsequiousness towards the powerful as they did in advance of the Iraq War. I'm not sure it's to the point that they're beating the drums for war yet, but when the elites decide it's time to go, I would be surprised if they did anything but.
You've mentioned already Iran.
Yeah.
And there is an enormous choice to be made about Iran, a more developed, more formidable, more populous, and certainly better armed country than Saddam's Iraq, whatever it was. Are you actually saying that we should threaten them militarily if they are determined to develop nuclear weapons?
I am saying that I think it is wholly unacceptable for Iran to have nuclear weapons capability.
But what can we do about it?
And I think we've got to be prepared to confront them.
Militarily?
If necessarily
militarily?
If necessarily militarily. I think there is no alternative to that. If they continue to develop nuclear weapons, then they need to get that message loud and clear.
Does this sound familiar? There is as much evidence that Iran is building nuclear weapons as there was that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, as claimed by Tony Blair.
We know that great falsehoods were perpetrated, and yet the individuals who perpetrated these things are still running around, you know, more or less much as before, you know, being taken seriously as commentators, as authorities on this or that. You know, I find it astonishing. These people should hide their heads in shame.
The British elites do not want the public to know what they're doing. They don't actually even think they have a right to know what they're doing. And they know that the more information the public has, the more difficult it is for them to pursue policies that maybe are abusive of human rights or involve supporting a repressive regime. And so there's a conscious strategy, actually, of having these public relations campaigns that the government regularly has whenever it resorts to an overseas military intervention, to try and convince the public that they're acting for the highest of noble intentions, when in fact they're not, when they're usually acting out of hard-hearted, straightforward calculation of elite interests. So the public is a threat that needs to be countered.
For too many journalists, the price of their independence is their life. They include Terry Lloyd of ITN, shot dead in Iraq by American Marines. Since the invasion of Iraq, more than 300 journalists have been killed, more than in any other war. This film is a tribute to them. That doesn't mean that we journalists have to risk our lives to tell the truth. But we do have to be brave enough to defy those who seek our collusion in selling their latest bloody adventure in someone else's country. That means always challenging the official story, however patriotic that story may appear, however seductive and insidious it is. For propaganda relies on us in the media to aim its deceptions not at a faraway enemy, but at you at home. It's very simple. In this age of endless imperial war, the lives of countless men, women, and children depend on the truth, or their blood is on us. Never believe anything until it's officially denied, said the great reporter Claude Cockburn. In other words, those whose job it is to keep the record straight ought to be the voice of people, not power.
I bought a bourgeois house in the Hollywood Hills with a trunk load of $100,000 bills. Man came by to hook up my cable TV. We settled in for the night, my baby and me. We switched round and round till dawn. There was 57 channels and nothing on. 57 channels and nothing on. 57 channels and nothing on. Well now, home entertainment was my baby's wish, so I hopped into town for a satellite dish. I tied it to the top of my Japanese car. I came home and I pointed it out into the stars. A message came back from